Welcome to the Radio Toons podcast, guys. How's it going?
Going good, man.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ernie.
We're on Thursday again. Yes, we are. I don't know if you guys
Did
probably
you notice?
you guys probably noticed. I got ridiculously sick yesterday, and Ernie was really sick the day before that. So we decided to push the podcast once again. But it kind of worked out because today, Wednesday, they released a new Overwatch short.
They released a bunch of stuff because like Gamescom is going on.
There was a good amount of stuff that now we have to talk about. We need to catch up basically on the whole week. But first order of business is the Overwatch short.
Right, Shooting Star, I believe it's called.
So I was they teased it on Monday. They said like this Wednesday, new animated short, whatever.
Right.
So I was like, awesome. I love all of them. And this one was featuring D.Va.
Which everybody fawns over.
Yeah,
D.Va.
A lot of people love D.Va. She's probably one of the most popular characters in the game, if not like only second to like Tracer, probably, because Tracer's like the cover girl, you know. So.
Right.
But I was pleasantly surprised that it was her. To me, honestly, though, I really wanted a McCree one.
Yeah.
Just because McCree is one of the only characters to me that has kind of like a dark past that you don't really know about.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that kind of adds to his character or not. Like, even the comic book that they have on him is just him, like, kind of stopping a railroad heist.
Right.
And then he's just like, they're going to blame it on me anyway, just, you know.
Give me a head start.
Yeah.
But remember, he's in, like, that DLC that you and me played.
What DLC?
Where he's part of 4 people. He's part of...
Oh, like, you mean the archives thing? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he does have, like, a sketchy past.
Yeah, there's a bit there, because I know that, like, Reaper recruited him out of jail. It was, like, his description for that costume or whatever is, like, rot in prison or join Blackwatch or something. Right. So, we know that much, but I was really hoping to see, like, more of that, basically, you know? Like, even that little intro cutscene of that, I loved.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, like, that shit was great. But anyway, so we got a D.Va short, which is great. I love D.Va too. She's probably right up there with McCree for me. They're probably my 2 favorite characters. And then Hanzo's like a close second.
But we saw Hanzo like ages ago. I think he was one of the first little.
Yeah, I was gonna
stories.
say actually, D.Va's short was not my favorite. For the longest time, I think Hanzo's was. Because it's brothers. They're fighting. Hanzo's a troubled soul. I love him. It's like. It has all these elements that I like already.
It's a lot of good stuff in that.
It's Japanese, you know, like it's hard to beat. And then Sombra's came out, and I honestly think Sombra's is probably the best one to date.
Is it the longest one? Because it felt like the longest one.
I think the longest one is May's.
Really?
Yeah, because hers was a lot of, which is why I really liked hers too, because it's a lot of like her planning stuff. And,
oh, that's right. Yeah, I did that drawing because she looked adorable brushing her teeth for the first time.
For the first time, or
for the first time after they woke up from deep sleep. Okay. Remember, she like brushes her teeth and she doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
But honestly, I think the Sombra one is still my favorite. I think just because there was a lot of hype behind it when it was coming out, it didn't only just like. It wasn't just a new short. It was revealing a brand new character that This was the first time we had all seen Sombra.
Right.
And
it started out with Boop.
They even like or it ended with Boop. It was able to showcase her abilities before anyone was able to see what they were.
Right.
Which is also why. Okay, so do you remember it at all?
Yeah.
There's that part where she throws the little thing and it beeps and those guys get confused.
Yeah.
I love that also confused the audience because we also don't know her abilities, so it was like we were in suspense at that moment too for a second, and then you see what happens, and it was just really cool overall just because it revealed all this stuff,
Not to mention it showed that she was not necessarily for the bad guys or for the good guys.
Yeah.
Because that little thing was like, you need to help me out.
Yeah.
So she's in it for herself. Not to mention, then you reveal that she has some sort of relationship with the other.
With Zarya?
With Zarya, yeah.
Yeah, the part I always remember from that short is when she's falling and she like puts her hand along that giant robot,
right?
And it grabs her with its hand. I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, what is going on right now? I had to watch it so many times. But anyway, so we're talking about the D.Va short.
Right, Shooting Star.
Yeah, so...
Well, I mean, since you kind of already gave your, like, you were disappointed, I was just really underwhelmed because...
I wouldn't say that's my full opinion on it. I still really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Of course, it's nicely put together, and it shows a little bit of what she's about.
Uh-huh.
But it all seems very, like, surface, if I'm being quite honest. There was nothing... Like, each one of them had this... Like, my favorite one, I think, is Soldier 76.
Okay.
Because I like that whole hero speech and the theme of what it means to be a hero. Even though he's not, I think at this point he's not in Overwatch, but he still likes to fight for the little guy.
Yeah, it felt like it didn't really have a lot of emotion. Like, even when she was just like, we saved the city, I was like, I didn't really...
That's great!
I was like, I didn't really feel like it.
No, it didn't.
Like, okay, if we're talking about that, I think Reinhardt's really excels in, like, feelings.
Of course.
Like, Reinhardt's short, like, when what's his face? I think his name is Baldur or something. I forget.
Yeah.
When he's like, "Be their shield," I was like, "Fuck!" Like that's that's his catchphrase, dude. That's what he says. Like when he brings out his shield. So it was just.
And then you find out that Baldur's part of the backdrop.
Yeah, and it was just like it's so cool to just for that to it just gave more meaning to like Reinhardt's character, and this one was a little more like I almost want to say D.Va was like out of character. Because like in the game she's like GG easy and like self-destruct and too easy whatever, and then this short comes out and she's like no, I don't want to go out there and sign signatures. It's about this, like what we're doing. Like it seems so like it almost like contradicted what I thought it would be.
I can see why you think that, but it's in character because while she's in the game she's like that. When she's in game, she's boastful.
No,
she's like,
whatever. And I don't even mind that. It's just that what I'm saying is that's something that they could have added, to make it better. It's like at the beginning maybe she's a lot cockier, and then towards the end, she kind of learns something. Because in this one, it almost seems like, for those of you who haven't seen it, the only real I guess conflict here is that there's a guy in her lab, and he's like, you can't do everything yourself, and then at the end she's just like, I need help. Like, but
no.
It was just a little like, I don't know, kind of lame.
Like I said, it was a little underwhelming because
there was there wasn't really any stakes. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
No, there were stakes. It's just that each one of the last kind of Overwatch things have done this really nice thing of looking back.
Yeah.
And alluding to a past where something taught them a lesson about what they're doing right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why
There was a part in the short where I thought, oh, this is going to be that part in this little video where it shows like why she is how she is,
like her Vietnam flashback or whatever,
something like that, and some like story from when she was a little kid, how she figured out she has to do everything on her own. But it was like she looked at the scratches on her mech, and it was just like it was close the last time. And that was it. That's all we got. But it was like the battle had just finished.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like if they would have flashed back to like when she was like esports or whatever, and she was cocky, and you learn why she's now so like calm, I guess, or like not as cocky, or I don't know, it would have been better because this one was a bit. I don't know, and I think honestly, they might have just done it because she's a popular character, and they didn't really have something interesting necessarily to say about her, so they were just kind of like, we got to do it because it's D.Va, like she's one of our most popular characters. We got to do a D.Va.
I think there was too many parts where they were like, oh, and we can do this joke and we can do this joke, because there was a lot of jokes about her killing at esports and her drinking, whatever the Mountain Dew equivalent was.
Yeah.
Her being on all sorts of sports and like food stuff, and then she was drinking nothing or eating nothing but chips and ramen.
I gotta say too, the laboratory that they were in was pretty bland. It was like not bland. I don't want to say bland because I know they worked hard on this, but it was like there was nothing on the walls and like
there was no personality to it.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know. Like I would have liked to see her in the city, like or like I'm saying, like her behind a computer or something, or doing what she was doing in her. Like her older life, not just like alone in some laboratory on the sea. It was.
I mean, there was some Easter eggs, like when she was.
When
the guy was working on the computer, you could see Lucio's.
Yeah. Which
thing on the
they
on
put
the
like
computer.
his icon on the screen, which I'm like, okay, that means like
0.
they were like listening to him or something, or like I don't know, like
I don't know, maybe he's one of the other players. I don't know, but like, it just didn't feel like there was a lot of meat to this one. Because the fight itself was impressively done. The fight sequence was really nice. But we all knew how it was going to end because we've played D.Va. Even me, who's barely played D.Va, knows that her like big Hail Marys to destroy her mech.
You know what's funny too is like, I was like, okay, so after this short, am I supposed to believe that every time I do self-destruct, it's the guy in the lab like doing it for me, or like
also, you getting a new mech is just like magic in the game.
Yeah.
But here she's like rebuilding it by hand, each piece, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, I also have another little. I noticed something. I should say. I think that her hair was tied up in a bun. Because it was tied up in a bun. It was. And I think they did that because it would be hell to animate all of that hair, like while she was falling or something, or like it would get in the way of the shots.
Yeah.
So probably. I just thought that was interesting. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't think it was tied in a bun. I think she had her headphones on.
It was tied in a bun.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it.
All right.
She has it. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. But anyway, yeah, I still really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I woke up in the morning, very excited to watch it. I put it on my TV before I went to work, and I was happy. You know, I was like, I'm glad. This is a great way to start the day. I love when companies put shit out right in the morning. You know.
Yeah.
But speaking of like revealing stuff, I guess, or videos, trailers, whatever, they also dropped a new DMC5 trailer.
2, didn't they? It was the
new
trailer and then the gameplay.
Yeah, and then they IGN did like a first 15-minute playthrough of a demo.
Yeah, the demo that they were showing at Gamescom.
Yeah. So I think, I'm not sure, I want to say they messed with Nero's face.
They did.
They did, right?
They did. It's the same voice actor. It sounds like
obviously,
the same voice actor. But his face is very like, he has a bigger like brow, and his nose seems like a little bigger, and his chin just seems a little.
Well, I was gonna say, you know,
thicker.
I mean, from the first trailer.
Yeah, no, I know.
From the first trailer to this trailer, it almost looks like they made him thinner. Like they made his bones a little cheekier, and they gave him like a pointier chin. I'm
That's
not
what
sure.
I was saying. It's like his jaw was like, something about it felt different. I thought it was thicker up at the top, and then it came to more of a point because he looked more. I don't know, because before in the other trailer he looked like he had more of a jaw, and now he has kind of
his face looked
chin.
Rounder, right? And I think
in the
it was
original trailer,
the shaved head too didn't help like the roundness of his head.
I hate the shaved head.
I hate the shaved head too, man. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going for. I know everyone's just gonna say like, don't knock it because it's different, right? But it's just
we're not knocking it necessarily. We didn't like the way they looks. Big deal. We were watching the gameplay trailer too, so we can talk about that after. But as far as aesthetics goes, like the opening trailer showed a bunch of stuff like the Devil May Cry building is no longer a building anymore. It's the van.
Yeah.
They have Devil
like
May Cry on the side of a van, and it travels around with Nero.
They have Uber May Cry, so it's on
Uber May Cry.
But what was I gonna say? Okay, so I don't have a problem with the fact that it's a shaved head. It's just that as far as like haircuts go, it's not just long or short. There's like a million of variations in between, you know? Mm-hmm. Like give him a fucking haircut, or like give him a real hairstyle. You don't have to like shaved head is like so like lazy
it's
to me.
It's not shaved. It's like it's the short spiky
It's
hairs.
like it's like typical anime like spiky headed kid.
Yeah.
Not to mention his clothes, like his wardrobe is just like extremely. I'm like, what are you doing? Like
it didn't look as great as it did in DMC4, that's for sure. Because it seems everything just looks plain. Everything looks really dark.
I'm still not over like the gritty look. I don't like that. So
I can get behind a gritty look. Problem is that they're not using their colors. I don't feel like they're using a lot of colors, especially. I mean, in the gameplay trailer, it was like he's dressed almost all in black. Mm-hmm. And the variance comes in the type of gloves or type of hands he uses. Because in this trailer, he like switches off between different hands, so they change color every so often. But I'm like, that's not enough for like the entire costume. It's just in like black leather.
Let me point out something I did like. I noticed is from trailer 1 to trailer 2, it's already vastly different. So I don't know if like they're still getting feedback and making changes, but apparently the game's coming out like next March, right?
They still got a long time to go.
Yeah, so I would love to see what they change about it.
Uh-huh.
I noticed that there was a couple things that I want to say that even from like trailer 2 to the gameplay trailer, there were a few differences, like the way he would grapple enemies and stuff.
Yeah,
it looked a little bit different because in the trailer, it looked kind of bland. It just literally looked like a little stringy rope that he was grabbing people with.
Right.
And it's like in my head, I'm like, how do you compare that to DMC4 where it's like a huge fucking arm? Like,
right.
You know, I don't know, but I know a lot of it's not final, so it's hard not to just like nitpick it. But
right.
It looks kind of slow, if I'm being completely honest.
Well,
like,
don't go to the gameplay just yet, because there's a great part in the trailer that I really loved, and it was Dante's appearance.
Yeah, Dante
shows up, and Dante is cool as fuck, as always.
Dante stole the show.
Dante rides in on a motorcycle, like Akira style, because it's like a red motorcycle. Then he lands, breaks it in two, uses it as sword, and he just like hits all these different guys, puts it back together, stops and smiles, like, and you see like a close-up kind of his face, and he looks pretty much like he did before, except his hair's a little longer, and he's got like, before in Devil May Cry 4 he had a bit of a stubble.
Yeah.
Now he's got like almost like a full beard, but it's all gray.
I wouldn't say it's a full beard, but it's
almost.
But it's white.
It's
now.
white now. Yeah.
It's kind of
And then he takes off into the sunset, and like it's crazy because right before that part in the trailer, you saw Nero jump on a missile and ride it through a bunch of lasers, which looked like gameplay, by the way. It didn't look like trailer. It looked like gameplay.
I think that was a reference to part 3.
It was a reference to part 3. Thanks for saying that before I got a chance to do that.
We're getting there pretty slow. Come on, we got to move this.
Well, I'm trying to get there. Jeez. But it's a callback to DMC3. But it's crazy that even though he's riding on like a missile, even though he's using his hand like a turret gun, like all that kind of stuff, Dante comes in and is just like the coolest thing in the video.
He was. He was definitely the one thing that like really caught my interest at the end. I don't really like his hair. His hair looks dirty. It looks nasty.
Dante?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that, but and he looks.
I don't know what's going on there.
He looks considerably older.
He does.
But I don't know. I they keep like showing him off like all like blurred almost, and I don't really get a good look at him. So I'm waiting, I guess. But I hope Dante isn't like. I want his fancy look there still, you know, because Dante always looks fancy.
Sure.
I hope they keep that. I don't want him.
I don't think they are keeping it. Because if you think about it, his beard is kind of getting out of control, and his hair looks scraggly. You know what I mean? It's longer, but I mean, it still could be. I don't know. It could just be those shots. You know how they use his hair to cover up his face or whatever, and it could look good, but as of right now, it's just so. I don't know. It's scraggly, but that might be a result of him being on the motorcycle or something. I don't know.
I did like Nero's banter with some of the mini bosses.
Hey, do you do parties?
Yeah, stuff like that. I was like, okay, I like that. Mostly because the problem I had with the banter in like the DMC reboot was too much like straight to curse words or straight to some sexual joke. Whereas like to me, Devil May Cry's always been like that. Devil May Cry characters to me are always like past that, you know? Like cursing, smoking, they're above that. Like Dante's a little too cool to do that, you know? Like because he's not real.
Right.
He's a demon, obviously, or he's like half demon, whatever. He's like that's how cool he's supernatural. He can't. What am I trying to say? He can't. He doesn't use these human things like cursing or smoking or refer to sex all the time, whatever, you know.
Okay.
And that's why I think it's funny that Nero uses like cheesy lines like, "Hey, do you do parties?" or he's like perfect timing at the end. And it's like, okay,
he says, "Happy birthday."
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so we want to move on to the gameplay trailer because that's part of it.
Okay, so the gameplay part of it, the what's it called? The targeting is there. So that's one good thing, right?
The targeting, like the reticle,
Yeah, the reticle's there.
it looks fucking stupid.
It does look pretty stupid, but it's
like
there.
a circle.
It's there. The hand grabbing stuff is there. Although there's a weird mechanic with the hand.
You have to like pick them up.
Well,
you like run out of them or something.
You could still do certain things with the hand, even though you don't have one, which is like reach and grab. You could still do that somehow, but each hand has like you can use its ability, and then you can collect more of them. So they're just laying all over the place, which means you fight some sort of half demon, half machine things because they drop them, which is weird.
I don't know how that works, and I'm even more curious as to like, because I assume he's eventually going to get his arm back in the game. Like, what's going to happen when it's like, is he going to have his permanent arm then? You could still swap it out for like I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know, but it's pretty early on that it seems like it's going to be pretty early on that he loses his arm.
Yeah, like I think the game starts.
You think it starts with it like that? I wouldn't be surprised if he starts with it and then they rip it off.
Well, either way, I was happy to finally see gameplay because I can only take so much of pre-rendered cutscenes and stuff like that. But the HUD, I'm not a huge fan of the HUD.
The HUD looked dumb.
The glass,
it looked
like
barely there.
The glass, like shattering thing, it was okay. I wonder if they'll change anything. Even like the way the grades look, the stylish grades.
I didn't like that they spoke.
Well, that's what they did in DMC Reboot. Ugh. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't like it. I can't believe they kept that.
Yeah. It goes like sadistic. Yeah.
It's like, is this Mortal Kombat? When did this happen?
You're right. Of all the things to keep, why keep that? It had like little sound waves.
Yeah.
On it, which was, I was like, I get what they're going for, but it almost looks like the styles are clashing at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Like aesthetically, it just looks a little bit confused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. At least they kept the revving in the sword there.
That's what I noticed. That it looked like he was still doing Exceed, but it had like he only had 2 charges at the top of the screen or something.
Yeah, but what was great is that the sound was the same. I recognized the sound from like when you hit it.
Yeah, it actually sounded identical, and I was like, are they gonna do something different, or are they just straight up using the original?
Straight up using. But what's cool is that it was a little thing I caught in the gameplay thing. If you have it revved, and you're walking around, if you get close to his back, you can see it's like your sword is on like a car engine.
That's usually how it is.
And it's like you can see the gas. You can see the
you're saying like
coming off your sword.
You're saying it trembles?
It trembles. You can see like it on your back. It trembles and it sounds like a car. Oh, okay. And then if you get close, you can see heat waves coming off of it from the exhaust.
Because in the original, it would stay red.
It would stay red, yeah. But it was like there's one part in the gameplay trailer where you see it and you get close enough and it's like.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the flames coming out of it.
You know what I noticed right off the bat, which was a little bit strange to me, was first of all he used that move Caliber a lot, so I wonder if they changed the
combo. Yeah, well that's the Stinger version. That's his Stinger version, right?
No, Caliber is the one where in the air he goes forward.
He dashes forward.
Yeah, and that was done by doing back forward in the original game.
Yeah, but it looks like that's a function of the hand. Because if you noticed, it was like a burst, like it went.
Yeah, I don't know, but the other thing I was gonna mention, was he pulls out his sword and he like keeps it out.
Yeah, he
doesn't put it away right away. He like walks with it for a little bit, and then like I'm not sure if he like the person playing like pressed a button or something, but they put it away themselves.
It looks like it just happens after a little bit, and he puts it away.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, and
you're like, okay,
because the way he walked with it looked kind of funky. I was like, it's cool, I guess, but I don't know.
It always looks better when they put it away.
I don't know. To me, when I play these games, like I said, it's like they make things look effortless. That's the whole point of these characters, to me, at least, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. The other thing I was going to get to. So you said happy birthday.
Right.
He says happy birthday, and then he says, now blow out the candles when he does the second part of the combo or something.
Right. Actually, I saw it when he did because the guy who was playing was holding down the shoot button.
The charge shot? Okay.
And then he would shoot it, and he's like, blow out the candles, and he would shoot both.
Okay.
Because it would go...
So, in my opinion... Okay, I know I have a lot of opinions today. Sorry. I'm so sorry for this. If you're gonna have a character do say something in as they're fighting or something,
Uh-huh.
just keep it to 2 words minimum, okay? So Bayonetta, she says "so close," right?
Yeah.
I never get tired of it because it's like 2 words. How do I
Get
get
out.
Yeah, get out, flock off. She's 2 words.
Yeah.
Dante, it's like or Dante or Nero in DMC4 is like slam dunk, blast off, go down, and then remember that one time where he says "go to hell." It stuck out. Like to us, we were just like, "What did he say?"
Go to hell.
It's like it's too long.
It's too long.
It's like once you go past 2 words, it's like eh. So I was watching this gameplay trailer, and he said, "Now blow out the candles," and every time he said it, I noticed it, and I kind of winced. Like I was like, ugh, I don't. That's gonna.
I thought at first it was gonna be situational.
I think it's whenever he does that move.
Yeah.
But like Happy Birthday, I don't care. It's like whatever. You stuck a candle in him or something. That's great.
Yeah. And it's gonna explode. Got it. But the addition of now blow out the candles.
Yeah. You can say blast off. You can say slam dunk. Whatever you want to say. Keep it to 2 words. I think because it's getting a little bit. Whatever.
Speaking of that, my point was I did actually enjoy the part where he actually. So you fight a boss in the demo, and it was this guy named Goliath, his big dude, and it seemed like they were having banter as the fight was going on.
Yeah.
And as you triggered different parts of it, he would say different lines. Now I'm a fan of it, but at the same time, I'm like, what if it takes me 3 times to beat this guy? Is he gonna keep saying it?
Yeah, that's okay. So a lot of games are plagued by that. First of all, right?
Right.
And I think Devil May Cry is going to be a game where that happens a lot. Which is why I think with Bayonetta that never happens. They keep all their banter to before the cutscene,
right? Or
like during the cutscene, and then during the fight is silence. Which is fine.
Except for Jean.
Does she
when you
talk?
fight Jean in Bayonetta 1, she talks to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking the exact same thing because I remember I was playing Infamous, right? Infamous 2. It was free on PlayStation Plus like a while back. Almost like a year, I want to say now. But he's trying to be witty all the time. This guy this guy puts Bubsy to shame, okay? He's like talking all the time. He's
gonna drop a Bubsy reference in the middle of this podcast?
He's got quips, he's got wit. When I would die, he would say all that shit again, and I was like, "Shut up, dude! I heard it. I already heard the jokes." Like, I don't know. I want to say like, when they're playtesting this game, they don't get tired of hearing the same shit over and over again, or what? I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where they're like, "Oh, these guys have played it so much, it's gonna be awesome the next time they go through it, and they can say those lines, and it sounds cool if you play it through, and you're dope at it." It was like, you know what? I think it's take it or leave it at that point. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like it because anytime I've had to hear the same thing repeated over and over again, it either becomes a joke that we all kind of collectively like to say, or it becomes like, "Oh my god, shut up." And you push the button. Because like one of the things that we said for like a whole year was when you fight the first guy in this old game called Tenchu on the PlayStation, there would be this part where he was like he was trying to have sex with this one lady, and he would be like, come on, and then she would run out, and you show up and you're like, I'm here to avenge all the people you've hurt. And it's every time you had to fight him, he said that over and over again. Oh,
I don't think that's nearly the same thing. But Uncharted has the same thing where like you're fighting. Let me tell you why I don't like it from a technical aspect, huh?
Okay.
If
technical?
Let's get all the tech heads in here, so I can sway them. Okay. Sound design wise, it sounds weird. When when you're hitting somebody and they're trying to have a conversation, it either the sound has to dip lower so that the volume on them can be raised, or it's playing at the same volume and it's kind of like a gargled mess. In like depending on what you do, it's like what if you did something loud, like shot a bullet or something, right as this guy was saying something. It's just messy, Like it's like. Why do that? Like,
it's funny that you say that because one thing that I got tired of right away was in the trailer they used this new song for this.
Oh God, I don't like the song.
That uses the words
Devil Trigger
in it, and it's sung by this lady, and it's very modern. I can't pinpoint what the musical genre is of it.
Okay.
But every time he got into a fight in the gameplay trailer, that music started up.
Yeah.
And then while he was fighting the boss, it started up again. I was like, wait, is this going to be the only track I ever hear? And I don't think it is, but I will say I'm already tired of that song.
Yeah, I will say the same thing. I did notice that I think the song gets progressively louder as you get more
as you
styles.
go up in styles. Yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure. I'll have to watch the gameplay trailer again.
After it goes savage.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not even against that kind of music in general. It's just that like I don't know. If there is a tradition to kill as far as Devil May Cry, it's like use a different song when I'm fighting enemies or something, you know? Even Devil May Cry 3 had 2 songs. Halfway through the game it switches. So like do that or like I don't know, like
and even in Devil May Cry 4 there was a different song for Dante and Nero, I believe.
I don't know actually, that's a good question.
I don't ever remember hearing the same songs over and over again because they had a different song, like they had all sorts of different
Nero definitely has the same song the entire game, yeah.
Well, I mean, but once you switch over is what I mean. Like, you have Dante, then you have Nero. But, again, let's keep in mind that this is the demo. So, not all the music's done. Not all the enemy stuff is done. It looks a little bare bones, if I'm being quite honest. Because it looked like he only had maybe 2 combos at the very most. Like, he had an air combo, and he had a floor combo, and that was it.
He had this move where he, like, stopped time, which was a little bit interesting.
I think that was one of the hands.
Yeah.
And then he had this move where he like held his hand down and just like there was a constant blast that was coming out of it.
Oh yeah, like a fucking Mega Man.
Yeah, Mega Man
like
Buster thing. But you could hold it down until the arm broke.
Yeah. Okay. So that time stopping thing is like that's kind of crazy. I thought they would show
Bayonetta style.
I thought they would show that off more. Yeah, Bayonetta or if you're talking Devil May Cry. DMC3, he had a move called Quicksilver. He had a style called Quicksilver where he just stopped time with Double Trigger.
Okay.
So it's, yeah. And then, yeah, he had that fucking Kamehameha, like, you know, Samus big-ass beam thing.
That would destroy his hand.
What I noticed was in the gameplay trailer, the first time he did that, I think when you kill the last enemy in a segment, it slows down like the reboot. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
In the reboot, when you would kill the last enemy in a segment...
Uh-huh.
It would, like, slow down, right?
Yeah.
I'm not crazy? Okay.
No, you're right.
I think they kept that.
It's an Arkham Asylum thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Whenever you're fighting a bunch of guys, the last kill that you have, they cut in real close to Batman and they show you taking the last guy down in slow-mo.
There was a point where, like, the camera fucked up because of that effect in the demo. And all I was thinking was, like, take it out, dude. It's like, it's not...
Just take it out.
It's not going to look cool all the time. And not to mention, like... I'm not trying to knock the game, you know, because it's just a fucking demo or whatever, but it's also like that's why in Devil May Cry 4, dude, like they made sure that you fought enemies like this in like wide open areas.
Yeah, this one seemed very like condensed. Like it was all these little small rooms.
Yeah,
which is not always the case in Part 4. It's usually pretty big areas where you can kind of get around. This one did seem a little more confined than all the other ones.
Yeah, but he only fought one boss, right?
Yeah, only one boss. But he fought at least 3 type of enemies, which was...
He fought... Well, okay.
It was like the zombies, the plants, and then these things with like the scythes.
Okay. I was going to say, because if he didn't fight them, they were at least in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like for the game or whatever. Yeah. What do you think of him? What do you think of his friend, Nico?
Right now, I can take her or leave her because she seems to be your traveling upgrade station. Mm-hmm. So it's like right now it's fine. She was in the trailer. They seem to be they seem to have downplayed her a lot from the trailer before. Like the trailer before, she was all like, "Look at my ass." Look at how it's like. She's like, "Look at how cool I am. See that arm he's got? I built that." Blah blah blah. And then this one, she's just literally driving the van around.
Yeah, she's
so, like they definitely downplayed her. And then she's like, right on time.
What did she say to him at the beginning? She's like, you know, I always got you covered, asshole, or something. And I was like, what? What was the need for that? Or you call him an asshole for?
Because that's their relationship, man. They call each other asshole and they say fuck.
It's
very Deadpool.
I was almost like, did they get the guys who wrote the DMC reboot just write this one character named Nico? Is this what's going on?
DMC reboot. It said "fuck you," I think twice, maybe.
Yeah, right, dude. They had a bunch of cursing in that game.
All right.
Well, anyway, yeah, you know, she's your upgrade station, whatever. That's cool. I guess I'm just curious as to see like how she even fits into the story.
I don't know,
because like Kyrie's still there. She was in the first trailer, like her name at least.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed is during the fights, there was one part where he transitioned from one fight to the other. He's like, I gotta say, this new arm's pretty great. And like pretty awesome. And I was like, so does that mean that he just got it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's trying it out, it looks like. So I think that lends more to the thing where, like I'm saying, where he has it for a minute, and then and then you have to lose it.
Let me ask you a question about
Yeah.
what they showed off in the demo. Do you think this is just like the tip of the iceberg, as they say? Because I feel like there's a lot of gameplay demos where they'll show off like the coolest fucking thing in the game.
Yeah, but yes, it is the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be more to it, especially with that arm thing. I have a feeling you're going to be able to upgrade it and do all sorts of crazy things with it. The only problem is one thing that you said in the very beginning was it's slow. This game feels really slow, like heavy almost. Because Nero and Dante both were like when they jump and move and dodge and everything, they feel so light and quick. And even the bursts, like you were saying earlier, where he like jumps up and then he's able to burst forward, they felt heavy and slow. You
know what though? Let's just hope, I guess I should say, Nero wasn't like super fast when Devil May Cry 4 came out. Like I'm sure people thought he was pretty slow.
Yeah.
But then Dante was there to compensate.
Sure.
Dante's much faster. He has a ton more abilities. I hope it's the same thing in this game, where it's like if Nero's a little too slow for you, or if he's too noob friendly or something, Dante's here and he's got a fucking slew of things in his arsenal that you can use, and he's super complicated. Like I hope that's what the.
I mean, it's true, but let's hope that's what actually happens. Because right now, what I saw, Nero was like super slow. I don't dig it right now.
It looked a little bit strange. Yeah, I would have to actually play.
I'm still gonna play it.
Yeah.
Still super gonna play it because I want more DMC. They're gonna reveal later that it's not even him, and it's like DMC Dante that comes out.
A lot of people are saying that Virgil's gonna be in the game.
I don't see that happening.
The only reason I do see that happening is because this is probably gonna be the last Devil May Cry.
Think so?
There's way too fucking many at this point. It's 6 with this one.
There's been like 20 Call of Duties.
Yeah, but I think Devil May Cry is something that is not going to go that far. Basically, like
what Final Fantasy are we on now?
Yeah, that's different. They start over from square one, like every one, right?
Well,
to an extent,
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's they're only like on the 5th Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
So how is it like?
But there's 30 versions. Of
yeah. Okay. Whatever. We're getting into. We're trailing off here.
And one of the last things, or something that I did since I was sick this week, and I'm sorry for all the sniffing and everything, but one thing that I did this week was I ended up watching the new show from Simpsons creator Matt Groening, which is Disenchanted.
Disenchanted. Nice.
And just to set it up for everybody who hasn't seen, it's a story of this princess. They call her Bean. I forget what her real name is, but it's like Tiberine or something like that. But they just call her Bean, and she's like. She's not your typical princess.
Oh no!
She likes to drink. She likes to fight, gamble, all that kind of stuff. She just doesn't want to be what her dad told her she has to be. And along the way, she meets a magical elf named Elfo, who has a very striking resemblance to Bart Simpson.
Right.
And another little demon that they end up calling Lucy.
Is that Eric Andre?
That is Eric Andre.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe Elfo is Billy West.
Okay.
And then I can't pinpoint who the actress who plays Bean is, but I know that voice. I just can't. I didn't look it up, but I know Tress MacNeille's in it. I know Billy West's in it, and then the guy who did Bender,
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio plays the king.
Right. And Matt Berry's in it.
Matt Berry's in it as one of the princes that the princess is being forced to marry.
Right.
So I watched the entire first season.
What do you think?
I really liked it.
You really liked
it
okay.
Because unlike a lot of stuff that's happening right now with The Simpsons and with Futurama and all these other series that Matt Groening has done, a lot of them aren't very continuous. Like Futurama is to an extent, but I think a lot of people are like me and thought that the seasons before the movies were the best.
Okay.
And they only got worse as they went on.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's this is the concern I had with the show at first. Actually, was that it reeked of like market research, I guess.
You think so?
I think a lot of people got in a room and said, people like continuity, people like fantasy, people like female protagonists, and people want shit on Netflix that they could binge really fast.
Okay.
Like, so all of that shit is in this, basically, you know? The intro's not even animated. It's like it's like JPEGs, like moved
you
around.
know what's crazy?
Okay, yeah, hold on. It's animation. I know it takes forever and all that stuff. What I'm saying is that I think it was rushed, just to a certain extent.
And I'm going to contradict that.
Okay.
Every episode's intro is custom.
Okay.
So
all right.
every episode is a custom-made intro that storyboards the whole story. So you get like this little quick preview to the whole story. Okay. And there are little funny scenes in each one. And they're all, like, they're not animated, but they're like almost like GIFs where they have like this slight movement in them. Mm-hmm. But it gives you a preview to the whole thing. So it's like, it shows like they put a lot of effort into it. Not to mention the entire... So they live in a place called Dreamland, which is just like a castle with a city around it. And that's like the land of Dreamland. That whole thing is done in CG. So they built that whole thing in 3D. And so there's always these like big sweeping
I know
visuals of the whole thing, and it's crazy. So it means they built the entire city, so they know exactly how the whole city is built out beforehand.
Sure.
So everything is like planned out and thought through. There is a continuous story throughout the entire first season that is really good.
Okay.
And as you go through, I can see what you're talking about, where they're like, oh, and they like this and they like this, but it all leads somewhere. It all goes somewhere.
Yeah. To be fair, I only watched one episode. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah.
It did have like that kind of Simpson-y, like Futurama humor where like things were just clever enough for me to be like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
And
like,
it gets better.
I would hope so, yeah. I didn't really feel the need to watch the rest of it. Maybe that's a bad thing. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit over like the fantasy thing at this point.
What have you watched that has been that?
It's like Adventure Time, and it's like, like...
Adventure Time was years ago.
Yeah, I suppose, but I'm just kind of tired of this whole, like... I don't know. And it's like... What am I trying to say?
You think it's a reaction from Game of Thrones?
When something like that is popular, right? Like, if I were to say fantasy's popular right now, it's like... Matt Groening doing the show is like your dad trying to do a fantasy show. It's like, it's kind of all surface level, like, if I want something like this, I go play The Witcher, and they do it right, Like, in The Witcher, it's like, they know all of this shit. They know.
But tell me one version of this, a myth, like this old school medieval thing where it's funny.
No, I get it, It's just, what I'm saying is, I don't know, I guess the jokes could have been a little more, deep, a little more like...
But that's not really how Matt Groening does. Like, his stuff is always very subtle, and it's always very talky, and it's always very like clever. It's always like clever banter, and as you go through the rest of the season, when you start to get to know them, you'll see how that kind of plays into it.
Okay.
Also, as you mentioned, Eric Andre is Lucy, the little demon that appears to Bean. It's like, who Eric Andre is. If anybody doesn't know, Eric Andre is like this crazy dude, very Tom Greenish like person who has this show that's completely bananas.
Right.
Go watch one of his episodes, which is like 11 minutes long, and then watch Disenchanted, and you're like, when is he gonna go crazy? And he never does, which is really, really refreshing. He's like, dude, this guy put some effort into this character. This is like, it's really cool to see.
I mean, when he acts, because he's in other shows too where he just acts
like what?
I don't know, but I know I think it was. God damn it! You're putting me on the spot.
Well, no, because I've only ever watched the Eric Andre show. and like his
that's him Unchained. That's him on Adult Swim.
Of course, I gotcha, but like that's all I've ever seen him in. I've seen him in interviews for like Good Day LA when he got interviewed by like a ton of people. There's one that he just did. He showed up without a shirt on, so they had to like tie the mic to his neck, and he was just doing that the whole time. He was just like, "Yeah, it's a little hot in here," so I took out my shirt and blah blah blah. The only person who he was like, he sat down and was really comfortable with was Conan.
Okay.
And him and Conan had like a grand old time talking and everything, but everybody else, it was like he was doing these jokes and being gross and all that stuff, like, and it was just like him coming off the show, you know.
Okay.
So to see him,
I don't really think he's that funny, just for the record.
I did at any point say he was funny.
No. It's,
okay. His the reason I watch it and everything is because like it's so. This generation's new Jackass, this generation's new Tom Green or whatever, and it's interesting to see that.
You're talking about Eric Andre's show.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So to see him in this show and be so like into the acting and so straightforward and so like, I don't know, I forgot it was him half the time. That's how good the acting was. You know.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Tress MacNeille, who did like a number of different people.
She's Animaniacs.
Yeah, most people will know her chuckle as the crazy cat lady.
Sure.
She reprises that role in another character.
She's Mom, right, in Futurama?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she does that laugh, and I was like, "Oh, that's just Neil."
Okay, what I will say about Eric Andre's character in the show is he was one of the only ones where I was like, okay, his character design looks cool actually. He's like a little black silhouette with an eyeball on it.
Yeah, he's a little demon.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like Matt Groening like got to be super creative with that character, and the rest they were just like make it look like The Simpsons or like.
No, actually, that's why I want you to keep watching because Elfo himself.
He looks like a fucking Bart.
I know he looks like Bart Simpson. I know all that stuff, but Elfo actually becomes a main vein in the story.
Okay.
Which is really weird, considering like he feels like when you first meet him, he seems like such a throwaway character, right?
I know. I mean, he's in the fucking key art. I know he's going to be a part of the show.
Of course he is, but like he becomes a big part of the show because, just to give you a little like preview of it, the king finds out he has some sort of like. Elves are rare because they never in the first episode Elfo leaves his village because he's like, I want to go to a place where people aren't happy all the time and the world isn't full of candy, so he leaves his world. And Bean is saying the exact opposite. She's like, everybody around here is so sad, I need to go to a place that's happy. And so they kind of meet each other and blah blah blah, but it turns out that like Elfo is going to be able to stay in the castle because he's a rare commodity, which means elf blood is very rare and it has a lot of magical properties, so that takes its own like it's a plot device, so it goes somewhere.
No, I get it.
And that like it's funny, the whole show is really funny, but it's also like this keeps going and they all have secrets and it's like it gets really good, and the ending of the season 1 it's kind of it tugged at my heartstrings a bit.
Okay.
And you
Well, I'm glad to hear that because, like I was saying before, it's like it didn't seem like things were done very like intricately, I guess I would say, because like what I was saying about the jokes is that they were also surface level. It was almost like you could template this and do it with something else, and they weren't really playing into the strengths of having like the fantasy, like over like theme or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's good to hear that they get better. Then I mean, I'll give it a shot. I'll keep watching it.
Yeah. Not to mention,
but
the parts with Matt Berry are pretty funny.
Yeah,
like he does. God, it's so funny.
The writing was not very subtle. Like her, like being in the first episode was just like, I don't want to be in this place where I have to do what I'm being. Yeah, and I'm just like, how many times have you written that sentence? Like, whoever's writing this, how many times have you written that same shit? Like, I don't know. It's like, be a little more subtle. Use a little more visuals to do this. You don't always have to scream it at the audience. I understand millennials are watching this, but it's like
it doesn't feel like a millennial show, to be honest.
That's what I was saying. It's like it does.
I think the first episode was trying to be as funny as possible while still trying to tug this very, very like they had to do all the setup in the first episode. But they tried to be as funny as possible because they had to get all these characters in place really fast because there's only 13 episodes.
Okay.
So it does go by pretty fast, but after that it seems like the story chugs along pretty fast.
Okay.
So,
and just for the record, I don't have a problem with it being a girl as a main character.
I mean, everybody thought that right now, so
Did they?
you're sexist.
Yeah, I do have a problem with that now.
Hey man, I do have a problem. By the way, the king being Bender, the entire series, the entire first season, I was like, when is he gonna say "I'm back, baby"? Like, I wanted him to say those words.
They have a
but
callback.
He did not.
They have a callback to The Simpsons. I think that's what it was that I caught in the first episode, where she says something like, "Bean's mother" or something.
Her nanny or whatever.
Yeah, she says like, "Oh, women don't use makeup; they use leeches or something."
Yeah. So what Steven's referring to is when Marge is gonna go to the prom in The Simpsons. She's gonna go with Artie Lang, but Homer shows up. Now before that, her mom is like, "Pinch your cheeks so you get red in them," and she's like, "Why can't I use a little rouge?" And she says, "Whores use makeup, ladies pinch." And the same thing is kind of mirrored here when she says, "Only prostitutes use makeup, women use leeches."
Yeah, okay.
So that's the joke there. And by the way, I caught something in the first episode that I didn't know what it was, so I kept rewinding it, but I couldn't exactly tell what it was. And then I looked it up online, and in the scene right before Bean goes into the forest, there's a nice shot of the skyline, and then something flies by. And it was too small, but then somebody online was like, "Oh, it's the Planet Express ship."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat.
Because you told me that before, and I was like, I think I would have noticed a big ass fucking
No, it's
space.
in the background, and it's really small. But that's why I was like, "What is that?" And I rewound it, couldn't see it, so I looked it up online. It is the Planet Express ship.
You paused and you said enhance.
And then
you
revolve.
finally,
It's a good series, man. Like I hope you actually do watch it. I know I'm very bad at when you recommend things to me. I'm like, whatever. But I'm still watching Mad Men. I'm getting really good. I'm into season 2.
Okay.
It's getting good.
Yeah.
You know,
the season...
old Pegster. She's making some moves.
Getting her hands dirty. Nice.
Woo. So things are happening. So I'm still watching.
It's on Netflix, so I'll definitely check it out. That's the only way I watched it, basically.
Yeah. And like, I know you can skip the intro, but watch a couple. You'll see that they put some work into the intros.
It skips it for me, honestly.
Well, okay, don't. Yeah. Tell it no.
Yeah.
Say no.
Bad Netflix. Stop that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So what are the final thoughts, Ernie? I think I'm gonna say thumbs up on the D.Va animated short.
Yeah,
but it could have been better.
Could have been better.
DMC5, we'll see. DMC5 is just constantly in the back of my brain. I'm just like, we'll see. I'm
only thumbs upping it because Dante still looked as cool as he ever did.
I need to see more Dante, honestly.
But he looked so cool in those 5 seconds.
I know. That's why we need more than 5 seconds.
And Disenchanted, a big thumbs up from me. Okay. I finished it in like a day.
Really?
Because there's not much to do when you're sick.
It was so binge worthy. Wow.
It's really good, and you know what? You'll recognize a lot of different voices in it. It's a great time.
Okay. I'll check it out. Yeah, for sure. But that does it for this week, guys. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.